All right, welcome to the Book of Numbers. This is the fourth book in the book series of Moses. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and then Deuteronomy is the fifth. So we're most of the way through the books of Moses, basically. This book is really an interesting one. I think most people skip this book as well as Leviticus. Remember Leviticus, we talked about a lot of the rules around priests and sacrifices and things that happened, the rules that children of Israel had to govern themselves. So if you want to understand that more, it's a great book to read. In Numbers, this is going to be a little different. Now, this book, is called the Book of Numbers because of the Latin Vulgate numeri. So that's what it got its name, basically. This is not the name that Moses or that the Jewish nation gives this book. They usually call it Vayedaber, which means and he spoke, or Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness, a little bit more closely connected. This is something that, of course, because it's Numbers, it deals with a lot of counting, adding things up, counting what's going on. So when it comes to doctrinal teachings of the law of Moses, there's not a lot in the book of Numbers. However, though, the book of Numbers gives us some historical context to some amazing pieces of history for the children of Israel. So we may not read every little thing that is mentioned in the book of Numbers because there's lots of lists and orders of things. We may skip over some of those parts, but there are some important things for us to learn that'll give us historical context for things that are major historical events that we're probably most familiar with, some of the bigger stories of the children of Israel. So let's get into chapter 1 and get looking at this. Okay, Moses and the princes in Israel count from each tribe, except Levi, those males 20 years of age and older. According to this, they total 603,550. The Levites are appointed to attend the tabernacle. Okay, so that's basically what we've got in here. So if we look at this, the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt. So they've been out now 2 years. They're on their second year free from Egypt. And he says, of course, take the sum of the congregation of the children of Israel to their families. So they're going to do a poll. This is a poll. They're going to go through and count them. They count every male 20 years old and up. So this is how they count them, because the key thing to understand is these are the men that are going to fight in war. So you need to know your numbers. Basically, if you were female or you were under the age of 20, you were not considered able to go to war. Sometimes you did, but they wanted to get the numbers to understand the size of their army, basically. So they went through and they numbered the tribes. They broke this down in each group. Go back to your tribe. Okay, now you break up your tribe. Get everybody figured out. Roll this number up. So this probably took quite a bit of time to do this. They went through and they put it all together. And it says in here about little over 600,000 men. So we have to understand, if that's 600,000 men, most of them, because they are of the age of being married, would have a wife and maybe even some children in there. So if you think about it, there's a good chance if we just double that number to account for women and children, there's probably over 1 million people in the children of Israel, basically. There's some debate that happens out there among scholars of what that number actually is, but it's a big number. I mean, imagine being Moses. You're running this nation that has around 1 million people that you're responsible for helping out. So things don't happen quickly, when they're moving around and doing stuff. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to pack this many people up, to feed this many people, to prepare them for things, to organize stuff. And you got to think that they have animals that they raise. They've got grain, they've got chickens and other stuff that they're raising up. They've got their own possessions and stuff. So their own tents, their own toys and things for the kids. So there's a whole entourage that goes with this that's important to look at. Let's see if we jump down here. Of course, the tribe of this is just going through and listing names and talking about who was numbered and how many of each tribe was numbered. The thing to realize too is right here at the end, the Levites, this is verse 53, the Levites shall pitch round about the tabernacle of testimony. There be no wrath upon the congregation of the children of Israel, and the Levites shall keep the charge of the tabernacle of testimony. So they set up their camps. You go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. The Levites are going to be around this area here, basically, and you guys are responsible for the taking down and putting up of the tabernacle and maintaining it and stuff, basically. So in a nutshell, that's chapter 1 of the book of Numbers. So lots of people. This is a big nation, big nation. If you can command over 600,000 just in your army, that's a heck of an army. You're a pretty formidable force. So a couple good things for us to learn, and we'll see in the next chapter to learn a little bit more about the children of Israel.